Welcome back, and we're going to get going on the second part of this video. And so we're still in section 4.1. We're dealing with the operations with polynomials. We'll review adding and subtracting, distributing a little bit, and then we'll dive more into the multiplication part. So starting off, we're going to look at 4 and then 2a squared plus 4b minus 4ab. We're going to subtract this from this polynomial, but we're going to have that 2 in front. So again, these are ones I think we're pretty familiar with. We hopefully remember that, we're going to need to distribute here and distribute the -2. And so when I distribute, I multiply those coefficients. So 8a squared plus 16b minus 32ab. And then watch our negative here. We're going to get -12a squared plus 8b minus 4ab. And then once we do that, we've gotten rid of the parentheses. We're ready to combine any kind of like terms. So when there's multiple variables, I don't care the order. I usually just start where I start on the left of the problem, look for like terms with that. So we've got 8a squared and -12a squared. That would give me a -4a squared. Remember, when we combine, the exponents are going to stay the same. This is a 16b and an 8b. When I combine those, I'm going to get a 24b. And then these two both have an a and a b, so those are like terms. And so we get -36ab. All right, let's go on to the next slide. We kind of talked about it in the last video about putting things in order, but now it is going to be a focus on our answer, that standard form. If you're, again, keeping your notes organized, it may be good to put on your yellow sheet if you still have it. The standard form goes from the largest degree, remember that means exponent, to the smallest degree of one variable, and that usually means the constant, which is going to be the number by itself. My slate's been acting up a little bit today, so it really is just like we're back in school. But I'll do my best and would like to get through this video, so we'll see how far we can get here. All right, so we're going to put just this in standard form. No adding or subtracting we have to do. So I look for the biggest degree, the biggest exponent. That would be this one. So I'm going to start off with x cubed. And then I work my way down. So I have a 3x squared. And then I have a -4x and a -7. I have now put that in order. Biggest exponent down to that number by itself. Now going back to what we were seeing, we're going to subtract these with some distributing first. So I will have to take the 3 and distribute. Remember, this means there's a -1 in front. This would be a good one to pause, do it yourself, and then see if we can get the right answer here. All right, when I distribute the 3, I'm going to get 3x cubed minus 15x squared plus 6x minus 3. And then -1, this pen, -1x cubed minus 4x plus 9. So looking to combine like terms, I know that didn't come out real neat, but that's an x cubed, that's an x cubed. That's the biggest exponent I see. So that's going to give me a 2x cubed. And you might even want to cross those off as you go. There's only one x squared term, so I'll bring that down because I'm putting this in that standard form. And a couple x terms to combine, that gives me a total of 2x. Combine my constants, those integers by themselves, -3 and 9, that gives me a 6. So that's going to be important. Once we have just one variable, we get that in standard form, biggest to smallest. Now we're moving on to multiplying. We started to see this a little bit in the last video. You're going to see several more problems with this today. As I distribute, if I have variables on the outside, when I multiply variable to variable, I have to add the exponents. So I still multiply the 3 and the 2. But remember, these each have an exponent of 1. So an m squared and an m, said that backwards, an m and an n squared is going to give me m to the third. Then I have an n to the first and an n to the first. I'm adding those n squared. This term, I multiply the coefficients, -12. These each have 1. When I add those, I'll get m squared and n squared. Again, if it's multiple variables, I don't really care about the order. This is considered standard form because the m, the first variable, goes from the biggest exponent to the smallest. A little more complicated here. We're going to take this and distribute to all three of these. So I'll give you a second to get that written down. Okay, so we're going to distribute here 24, add the exponents, x to the fourth, y to the third. Distribute here, negative 27, x to the fourth, y squared. And to that last one, positive 21, x to the third, y squared. Ooh. A little squared in there. Didn't show up very well. Let's see if I can do a little better. There we go. And looking at those, none of those match. Yeah, those both have x to the fourth, but the y's don't match, so those are not like terms. So nothing else I can do there. This one, again, a little more complicated. Take a second, write it down. I'm going to distribute that set. So I'll get 6x squared y minus 2xy squared. On this set, 4x squared y squared and 24y squared. We may have some like terms here. Ooh, I have an x squared y and an x squared y. Altogether, I have 10 of them, so 10x squared y. Remember, we're not adding the exponents when we add the terms. These two are not like terms. You can put them down in either order. I don't really care. Just make sure the negative is with the 2 term here. We have positive, come on, pen, positive 24y squared. All right, back to some more kind of normal things, and we'll branch off of this in a minute. We've got a binomial times a binomial. We talked about this again, the other video. We're going to FOIL, and hopefully by this point we're pretty good with FOIL. We'll see it a lot next year as well. FOIL means we multiply the first. That would give us 2m squared. The outer, minus 3m. The inner, 14m. And the last, minus 21. Those two in the middle match, so I'm going to keep the 2m squared plus 11m minus 21. Branching off that, we'll see somewhere we have some different exponents within the binomial. So we just want to be careful. We're using those property of exponents. When I multiply, I add the exponents. When I combine like terms, the exponents stay the same. Still going to use FOIL here. So I multiply the first, 3x to the fourth. I multiply the outer, 6x squared. The inner, minus 5x cubed, those exponents add. And here, minus 10x. No like terms, but I do want to be careful I get it in standard form, so I do need to flip-flop those two. If it was in the right order, I wouldn't have done anything else. And so put it in descending order by exponents or by degree. There's my standard form. Now we're going to branch that off into 2 terms by 3 terms, a binomial and a trinomial. Well, remember when I'm doing FOIL, what I'm really doing is I took each of those, or this, and I multiplied to each one of those. And maybe I could have done this in a different color because I took the 5x and I multiplied to each one of those. 3 here, 5, negative 5x here and here. And so I'm really taking this term and distributing, then I'm taking this term and distributing. We're going to apply that here. So I'm going to start with my binomial and I'm going to distribute to all 3 terms. So I'm going to have x cubed plus 5x squared minus 3x. And then I'm going to distribute here. So I'm going to have 2x squared plus 10x minus 6. I have 6 terms. We'll come back to that idea in a little bit. And then I'm going to combine. So I'm going to have x cubed. These are my x squareds. I've got 7 of them. Then these, I've got 7x, and then minus 6. All right, I'm going to stop the video there, and I'll put another one up with some more multiplying of these harder things, and hopefully I'll get the pen working a little bit better as well. So be sure to look for part number 2. Make sure you look at that before starting the assignment.